Hello everyone, it's Milos. I'm back on Neb's Gear, April 2nd, so it's not going to be Fool's Day jokes. I scroll down the questions and I see some that are related, so I think that's probably the best way to combine them that answers few questions. But here are the questions. First, where do you stand on a recomp? Is there really a good way to recomp? Recomposition, right? Okay, so, and then there are a couple of more that would suit right into it. But here, recomposition, changing your body composition, losing the body fat and building the muscle. Okay, our name of the game, bodybuilders do this all the time. So there is many times that bodybuilders, especially beginners and intermediates, that they believe you should build the muscle all season, put the size, and then it's the time to cut it up. I said many times, for me, especially for those of you that follow my career, I did 110 shows. I competed 15 years as a pro, and I did 72 pro shows at that time. I was always in shape. So for me, I don't believe in this off season and just, okay, have a freedom to pack on the weight, eat big to get big, lift heavy to get big, and all that stuff. All this is nice and dandy, right? You can lift heavy, intense, put some major stimulation with the compound exercises, build that dance myofibril hypertrophy, right? Go heavy or go home. That's all okay. But do you need to pig out when you are training big, so you have to eat big? When you say eating big, I would say eat clean and have a surplus of the calories. That's a completely different story than just eating all kinds of inflammatory, junk food that the only reason why we take it because we are not disciplined, we are weak, and we just want to enjoy food. Occasionally here and there, I understand there's many people in many countries that they can afford, great nutrition and great calories, so they have any kind, and then they still look great, and then they would confront me and say, you see, Milos, I did this eating this, and you had to suffer all your life. Number one, I never suffered. So for the best way to recomp for you guys is first, you find the food that you like, right? That are healthy. So if the choices of protein, the way you're going to be eating your eggs and chicken and turkey and fish and beef and whatever you choose to do, find a way that you make it that you're going to enjoy. You throw in carbohydrates, obviously, of the choice again. And we're going to touch the subject about evil carbs. So carbs are main fuel for the muscle. Bodybuilders absolutely need it. The only reason why people are going to these ketogenic diets, low carb diets, is they got themselves out of the shape eating this junk food that I talk about. So, then they have no other choice but to burn fat. Now they're going to have to create a huge surplus of the deficit of the calories. And the best way to do it is through low carbs or ketogenic diets and stuff like that. But all that hard work that you put in building muscle, now you're going to basically be at risk to catabolize it because you have to go up and then down dramatically. So, carbs. I talked to Jay Cutler the other day, and he was always just like me, super high protein, super high carbs. All my career, I did the protein and carbs with low fats. When you consider if you're going to take 2 grams of protein per pound of your body weight, and whatever choice of protein you're going to be taking, chicken, turkey, fish, beef, eggs, whatever, there is some hidden fat there. So by the time you pile up your 500 grams of protein a day, which I was eating, you probably have there 50, 60, 70 grams of fat already. So it's not like necessary to add fats. This is hidden fat in your protein sources. So what I was adding to my meals will always be carbs. Starches, complex carbs before, simple carbs during, and combination of starchy complex and simple right after, because you want to initially have slow starchy complex carbs and don't spike the insulin, right? So as much, I'm not going to say not at all, but not as much, because those bonds between complex carbohydrates need to be broken down, and the increase of blood glucose is much slower, so you don't have that sugar high, sugar low. So starchy complex carbs, you can eat your, the oats and the rice and quinoa and what do you call it, sweet potatoes. I don't care. When is the time before the workout? For the workout, I always choose simple carbs, as we talk about it. During a workout, sugar and insulin caused by that sugar that you're taking is your best friend, not your worst enemy. I touched that subject a gazillion times. I read these labels of intra-workout, no carbs, no sugar, or we have a slow carb. When you're training, you need the insulin spike, because insulin is going to be your best friend, transporter of all the nutrients that you have in the bloodstream. It can be shoved in and nailed into the muscle, as I say. So insulin, well, might be enemy elsewhere, it's your best friend during your training. And I'm not talking about exogenous insulin. I'm talking about just in general, increasing your blood sugar level, making your pancreas release that insulin to bring down the glycemia back to normal. But so the question is recomposition, right? So if you are fat, and I would consider you fat if you're over 10%. I don't allow this like 15% and stuff like that. So if you're more than 10%, I would say, okay, you need to get yourself down to, let's say, 5 or 6, and stay with 5 or 6 year around, life around. Let's face it, if you're a bodybuilder at heart and in your mind, you want to be in shape year around. So if you're not there, right, then your daily recomp diet and protocol would be that you have to create some fat burning phases during a day when you know 100% for sure you're going to burn some body fat. Okay, then you're going to have some maintenance phases between the meals to supply enough calories so you can induce and promote growth of the muscle and have just enough energy to keep you from whatever, one meal to the next, right? So maintain until the time when is training time, when is that anabolic phase now that you can build the muscle. So if you listen to me carefully, you have a fat burning phase or maybe 2. If you want to get in shape dramatically much faster, you create 2 fat burning phases a day. When? How? First thing in the morning on empty stomach, after overnight fast, you do some cardio. Cardio uses fatty acids, fat, as a fuel. You're gonna 1,000,000% for sure burn some body fat. You have no choice not to. You don't have nutrients, your body needs energy. Energy is being used from the fats. You didn't have a fat in the bloodstream, it's gonna be fat from your body fat storage. So you can check mark, you burn some body fat right away. Beautiful. Then now you're in a maintenance phase. Maintenance phase, feed your body with nutrients, not empty calories. So again, don't eat the junk. Put your protein, good source of protein. And okay, if you are endomorphic and more than 10% body fat, you want to stretch it and you're going to still stay with the low insulin levels so you can have a couple of meals without the carbs. No problem. I didn't, because I never let myself go, so I could have my carbs in each meal. But if you do have to create faster recomp and drop more body fat faster, okay, you do the cardio, you initiated fat burn, and next meal or 2 meals, you are eating protein with good fats, no carbs. Yes, once you touch the carbs, blood sugar level increases, insulin is released, insulin inhibits fat burning. So that's why ketogenic and low carb diets work, because you have a prolonged period of time that your body is not under the influence of insulin that inhibits the fat burning. So you can efficiently burn fat. But even if you have some carbohydrates and you release a little bit of insulin. If you are in caloric deficit, by the next meal within 3 hours, you're going to create enough physiological and metabolic reasons for you to lose body fat. So don't worry. Okay, I just got some message. Sorry, I got distracted. So anyway, you do the low carbs in those 2 meals, but then meal before the workout, as you're going to need carbohydrates as a fuel for all the muscle contractions. You're going to have a low fat protein. In first 2 meals, you can have a higher fat protein source like eggs and steak and salmon and stuff like that. Here, you eat your chicken and turkey and fish and egg whites, right? Protein powder, and some complex carbs. You must have that intra-workout supplementation, I'm telling you, and I'm going to re-emphasize this a million times over. The only time when blood goes into the muscle at the extent, like in a workout, that 60-70% of your total blood is going in the exact muscle that you're training, it's only during a training. So that's when you saturate the blood with the nutrients that you want to push to the muscle. As if you're hearing me, you're eating a carbohydrates of choice, glucose polymers, doesn't matter if it's dextrose, highly branched cyclic dextrin, Vitargo, carbolin, blah, 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 anything, I don't care. You can have simple dextrose, trust me. Okay, it's gonna do what? Boost your blood sugar level and it's gonna trigger insulin release. Insulin is gonna go in the blood and take all these essential amino acids, BCAAs that you have, creatine, glutamine, beta-alanine, citrulline, L-carnitine, arginine, you name it, whatever you put it there, it's there, ready for uptake. Insulin is going to shove into the contracting muscle fibers. So, again, just to touch that subject, intra-workout is when magic happens, when you can really nail all these things in the exact muscle that you're training. So you had a fat burning phase, metabolic maintenance phase, now you have an anabolic phase. Meal after the workout, again, in my opinion, as I'm here giving you advice, you still want to focus on this replenishment of the muscle fibers and muscle fiber, glycogen and everything. So you again have a carbohydrates and a lean protein, right? Fastly absorbable amino acids post-workout. So we have a completed anabolic phase. So we did burn fat and we did build muscle. Now the remainder of the day, next meal or 2, again, you want to drop the carbs, no problem. You're going to create some caloric deficit, no problem. I would just tell you, don't go for crazy caloric deficits. I would not go over 500 calories a day. If you dramatically drop it and you create 1,000 calories deficiency, if you do this every single day, you're going to create metabolic shutdown. Your body is going to be in survival mode. It's going to hold on to the fat and not build muscle because muscle costs you too many calories, metabolically active tissue. You don't want to, your body is not going to, in that caloric deficit, to retain the muscle. Guarantee, trust me. Yeah, with anabolic steroids and all the stuff you can prevent and maybe do something, but we're talking about maximizing what you're doing. So if you paid attention from the beginning, recomp is building the muscle, losing your body fat at whatever level, at minimal, optimal, maximal level, whatever you choose. You want to do my way, I maximize always everything. If you're going to do something, do it 100%, and you do it in much shorter period of time, and you're going to get much greater results. So focus on how you can create fat burning zone, maybe first thing in the morning, an empty stomach for sure, and then one more time, like Ronnie Coleman used to do when he was police officer at night. Jay Cutler used to do 2 or 3 times a day, the cardio. So this is your fat burning phases. Everything that you do has to make sense. Why did you do those? Oh, to burn body fat. Check, check. Beautiful. Remainder of the day, give body what your body needs. Maintain caloric, nutritional intake that is needed. Good. Training. Oh, training is supposed to be anabolic. Push everything into the muscle, right? Stimulate your muscle at any which way possible throughout the different exercises, different methods. Heavy duty, yeah, myofibril hypertrophy specific, and then sarcoplasmic pump, giant sets, change the tempo, change the grip, angle, stance, whatever, challenge your body. Create that pain, create more pain, and grow. Okay, so that's, I hope about recomp, I answered it. So here's that, this second question that there was, comparable. Oh, that was, I thought it was even, but it's even. Even at sub 15% body fat, I have almost no ab separation. Is there anything sustainable I can do to achieve that six pack? Being under 15% body fat, it's very hard for me to maintain. Dieting gets too aggressive. So here's an example of somebody. It's hard to be under 15%. No, you shouldn't be 15. 15, that means fat. Fat means there's no six pack. And dieting gets too aggressive, for the love of God. I mean, you're not even touching the surface of a dieting if you can go under 15. Okay, so what was the actual question? Is there anything sustainable? What is sustainable? So sustainable is exactly, pay attention to what I just said. Find out your caloric requirement for a day. That's very easy, right? BMR calculators all over the internet. Your height, weight, age, gender is going to tell you your physiological needs. Okay, whatever that be, 2,000 calories a day. Then you add everything that you do physically, thermic effect of exercise, training, cardio, blah, 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 everything, right? So now, let's say it's 3,000 something calories, 3,002. Okay. You have 15% body fat, you want to dramatically reduce it, but you want to keep or increase your size. So do what I tell you. First, start the day with the fat burning phase, burn some fat. Beautiful. Then calculate for 3 hours in between those meals, what is your caloric requirement. So, here is how it is. I'm going to use 2,400 calories because it's 24 hours a day, so it's easy to calculate. So if your BMR is basic metabolic rate is 2,400, which is probably not, but that would be 100 calories an hour, right? So then you can visualize every hour, oh, I need 100. So if you're eating 3 hours apart, you need 300 calories right there. So you're going to have your, 50 grams of protein, it's 200 calories. This other 100 calories is supposed to come from either carbs or fat. It's simplifying. That's 1 hour caloric requirement. And then nutritional requirement, you're going to decide, is this before training or after training? And if you need to be careful with losing body fat or you just want to build muscle. But this is how it is. So when you wake up, right, your BMR is increased about 30% even when inactive. But when you're training cardio and training with the weights, burns tremendous amount of calories. There's another question about that. So if you listen to my previous question that I answered, if you create that fat burning phases, those are 2 parts of a day that every day, as long as you do it, you're going to burn some. And now you can still create a little bit more caloric deficit in maintenance meals, right? But make sure that you have a major supply of nutrients and supplements intra-workout so you can build a muscle. More muscle you build, more metabolically active tissue you're going to have, more calories you're going to need. So this is the process that it's going to take you probably 2-3 months. But once you get into it, I mean, after 2 weeks, you're going to start getting results. But for 15% to go down, to around 10, it will be 2-3 months, and then you continue and keep going down and down and down. I hope I answered. There was something about, where is it? Okay. There was something like which exercise burns most calories, but now I can't find it. So when I find it, I'll answer it. So first question here is, how long should I rest in between compound exercises? Okay, you guys know about my giant sets, and I do the giant sets with no rest in between exercises at all. Or I give 10-second rest. So for this type of training, when you stimulate sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, right? There is two things that needs to recover normally in the training: central nervous system and muscular system. When you don't do something heavy that you exert CNS, right? You know, you do my pump up training, right? You don't need that much rest, and that's why I don't give you the rest. You just go 10 seconds into the next exercise, you know, because here, this is the types of stimulation I want to expose your muscle to. But heavy compound exercises, right? I know that some people are taking intensity shorten the rest in between the exercises. No, if you do the heavy duty compound, and of course it's different if you do the biceps or deadlifts or squats, I would give you way more time to rest and recover, and I would actually insist don't jump into the next set until you're completely ready. But when I said that, some people abused it and then take like a powerlifting type of 5-minute rest in between sets. No. Minute and a half, okay? That would be about the appropriate time, 90 seconds, to recover on just about any exercise. Okay, if you do the super heavy, squats, and you're gonna do like 4-5 sets, back-to-back progressive overload, you need more than 90 seconds. You need them, 2 minutes, no problem. Most of you guys would wrap your knees and everything else, and it's going to take much longer than 2. But that would be my answer to that. Compound exercises, you need 90 seconds plus minus 30. Okay, so everything depends. Do you have any IBB friends? Do you stay in touch with? Yeah, I mean, guys, life is about love and friendship and contributing to somebody else's life, giving, supporting, encouraging, and stuff like that. We are all brothers of iron, and we should all support each other. I know there is always that competitiveness and, some people say jealousy. I have never been jealous in my life. I help people beat me in the contest. You guys know those stories. I prepared a guy to beat me in the contest. And then I prepare a bunch of guys at the same time, and each and every one, I tell him I want you to kick his ass and vice versa, right? It's competitiveness is one thing, but friendship, camaraderie, it's completely other. I mean, back in the day, most of the guys would come and stay with me, right, in Colosseum, Fullerton days. I mean, Dennis James was a close friend of mine. I went to Thailand 5 times to see him, and he would come here forever. Hiratade Yamagishi, you guys know. Johnny Jackson, there was, at that time, Sylvia Samuel, Joel Stubbs, but there was also Flex Fielder, Chris Cormier, Melvin Anthony, John Brown, right? So we were that family, Dexter Jackson, Kevin Levroni, Paul, Did I hang out with everybody? No, because I was not really in Los Angeles, Gold's Gym. So of course, if you're there and see each other every day, it's much easier to keep something going. Here, I know I'm here with the confession. I wanted to invite Jay Cutler here a million times for dinner, but then it still didn't ever happen. We see each other in the shows and everything else, but I didn't bring him over here. Yeah, Regan Grimes, you guys saw him here many times. So, in all fairness, what I want to say, most of us are too busy with some business projects and obligations and stuff like that. But I think that camaraderie among pros, it's beautiful and it should be encouraged. And it's for me, it's very touching to see when, guys, we see each other nowadays And there's my 90s group or 80s group. Every time when I would see Gaspari or Barry LeMay or Lee Haney or somebody in any of the shows, I would make a point to spend as much time as I can possibly talking to them. Okay, next one. How often should I switch my routine up? All right, every workout. I know that that's gonna create a controversy, but really, okay, you can, and some very successful bodybuilders have the same routine for years. If you ask me right now, what was more than likely chest shoulder routine on Arnold Schwarzenegger through the whole career, it would be obviously bench, incline, dumbbell flies, cable crosses, dips, and then he would do 5 sets of 5. For me, it was always about this Latin quotation, varietas delectat. Variety is delightful. Change, do the different things. So if I can find stimulation of my muscle to be dramatically better, doing something other than the ordinary, that's what I would do. But in general, I would do 2 exercises in a heavy duty method. And those 2 exercises, would they always be, let's say chest that I mentioned, would I always do incline and dumbbell flies, 2 exercises of the choice for heavy duty? No. Next time I would do the flat and then maybe dips. And next time I would change to the decline, and you expose certain muscle fibers to that super heavy load, okay, and focus on that one. And then you change into that sarcoplasmic part when you go for a pump, when you go for a squeeze, when you go for a slow eccentric, when you go for a slow concentric, when you go for that stretch overload. It just, I really don't understand. Okay, maybe I'm going to sound like a prick by saying it, but it's pretty much like, okay, having sex and using missionary position only, because that's having sex. Oh, there are a couple of more, maybe 3 different positions you can use. I'm being sarcastic, okay, sorry, excuse my freedom to be trying to be funny. But when I say something dramatic like this, then people think, should you do all the same tempo, same range of motion, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So how often should you switch your routine? Once a month at least, right? But each and every week you have to change. Every succeeding workout have to be better than previous. If you're gonna do this by just, as Dorian Yates used to do, monitoring weight and reps on a certain exercise, and then that exercise next week has to be with more weight or more reps, or you switch it around and change. But every routine, progress is the name of the game, so you have to push it. All right? So, I see I'm coming up to 30 minutes. I'm talking too much. All right. What is in your gym bag? Last question I'm going to answer today. And I still didn't find that other that I was going to answer. But what is in my gym bag? Belt? Yes. I always have a belt. Some people complain, why belt? Why, I would always make sure that I have a tight belt, which should also remind me to keep my stomach tight, because when I look around and people have that stomach sticking out doing bicep curls or whatever else, and not to mention bend over rows, squats, or deadlifts, keep it tight. Straps. Even though my good friend Chas Polikin, God bless his soul, rest in peace, was against it. Don't use it. Build up your forearms in a grip. I'm not in a grip and forearm building business. I'm in a muscle building, and I would much rather use the grips and pull from the lats or whatever I use those, straps for. Okay, so that for sure. And then I would, wrap my knees for sure. Nowadays, elbows as well, but these kind of reps. So that's in my gym bag. Those three, nothing else you really need. Okay, until next time, this is Miloš.